The LCZ Broadcasting Company and your favorite commercials bring you The Adventures of Brick Benson, Ace Detective.
Real cream, real cream, real cream, real cream, a little dabble do ya? Real cream, you look so debonair. Real cream, the gals will all pursue ya. They'll love to get their fingers in your hair.
Yeah, my name's Benson, Brick Benson. Brick Benson, Ace Detective. That's what the sign on my office door says. Sound impressive? Sure, I can dress it up, but it's like painting stripes on a donkey and calling it a zebra. I was a real cop once, but a bad choice left me out in the cold, and now I'm fighting for a few coins to rub together every day down here on Fort Myers Beach. Life for a PI down here is as uncomfortable as a steel-wool jockstrap, and as painful as washing your eyes with a motor. Sure, business has gotten a little better since the electrification of the swing bridge and the increased tourist business, but most of my business still comes from the locals. Typically shrimpers who bust their butts dragging up pink gold from the Gulf of Mexico day on end. That's hard, smelly, and low-pay work, and they tend to handle their own problems because they're as tough as the soles of alligators' feet. Sometimes the solution to their problems comes in the form of a one-way trip to the bottom of the briny blue. So the $300 Monica Chardonnay gave me to scare some schlub named Tony Goomba was a windfall, like discovering the rock in my shoe was a diamond. That much cash could keep me in business for a few years. When I got down to Mango Street to find Tony Goomba, the place was deserted, except for a couple of winos near the corner trying to buy back their beatnik days with a jug of Muscatel. I stopped in front of the place. I could see a light burning in the back. I began to walk quietly through the place. The place felt cramped and smelled sweaty, like being in a steam cabinet with a bunch of sumo wrestlers. Whoa! Guy could get his head caved in around here. Oh, sorry, kitty. Anyway, I was so darn quiet you could hear a moth fart. Ah! Sorry, that wasn't a moth. Looks like it's going to be one of those nights when things go sideways and your trouble comes hard. And it doesn't do any good to sing the blues because down here you're just another guy who couldn't carry a tune in a tote bag and decided to play the ukulele. When I got to the office, back in the corner, there was a small cracked window. Through the window, I could see a man sitting at a desk. When I opened the door and walked in, he didn't seem surprised.
Well, come on in, pal. You ain't much at stealth, you know.
Is that so?
Yeah, that's so. You know, you're about as stealthy as a Clydesdale. And I could hear you talking to yourself out in the alley like some kind of an idiot. And when you first came in and you tripped over the garbage can and you scared my cat.
What? You could hear me talking to myself out in the alley?
Yeah.
I thought I was just thinking to myself.
Yeah? Well, that could create some real problems for you if you're on a date, pal. So what do you want?
About 10 words if you're Tony Goomba.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what words are they?
You'd better look up a timetable because you're taking the next train out of town.
That's 15 words.
No, it isn't 15 words. I contracted you and had into you'd and you and are into your.
It's 15 words. I gave you credit for you'd and your.
You did?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, then try this.
Go ahead.
Look up timetable, take next train out of town.
That's 9 words, you putz.
No, it ain't. It's 10.
9.
I counted very carefully on my fingers as I said each word.
It's 10 words, I tell you, you jamook. You counted timetable as 2 words. Timetable is 1 word.
It is? Well, that's not important. You're getting out of town on the next train, you hear?
Now that's 10 words. Finally.
That's not important.
It ain't? Words matter, pal.
Just go.
What makes you so tough to be telling me to get out of town with just 2 words?
This does.
Ooh, scary. Well, you do look a lot tougher with a gun. Does it help you talk any better?
Now look, Goomba, I'm going to say it slow, mister. Pack up your long johns and get out.
Is that you talking, Gumshoe, or somebody else?
I'm just the guy with a gun. Adrian does the talking.
So Adrian says get out.
That's right. You got the whole message now. 2 words. I should have started with that.
Yeah, you can probably count that far. All right, so you told me now. So just wander off somewhere and spend your dough. And don't scare my cat on the way out.
Don't worry, I will.
Well, what? You gonna scare my cat?
Spend the dough.
What about my cat?
Cats don't spend dough.
You better not scare my cat.
I'm not gonna scare your darned cat. I'm gonna spend the $300.
All right. I just didn't want you scaring my cat again. But you'll need to keep part of that dough, though, because I'm gonna give you an answer right now. I'm gonna take that gun away from you, mister, and you can pick the pieces out of your backside on the way home.
You better stand back, Goomba, or I'll share the business end of this gun with you.
You've heard my offer, mister. Now let's see if you can make good with this.
Goomba! Go! Save your muscle, fella! Save your muscle, fella!
That
The gun is empty! Oops! Goomba! Goomba!
Somebody play this.
Brick. It's brick. Brick. Not prick. Oh, well. Sometimes you eat the pizza, and sometimes the pizza gives you pizzeria. Well, that's the way it was this time for Goomba. He hit the floor like Grandma's undercooked meatloaf, and we all know what that sounds like. Just before he died, he grabbed his stomach like he had, you know, the pizzeria analogy thing, and then he didn't care anymore. I rolled him on his back. His eyes were open, and he looked surprised, like a guy who had just walked in on his grandma in her birthday suit. There was a bad tattoo of a scar on his forehead, I guess to make him look tough without earning it. Well, I didn't have time to tell him how sorry I was, because I needed to get out of there before Chief O'Malley walked in on me. O'Malley followed me around like a jilted girlfriend ever since I borrowed the stupid keys to his beach house. If he caught me there, I'd have about as much chance as a donut in a fat camp. I started for the door, but right then I knew I was the donut, and the fat man was my old boss, Chief Detective Morpheus O'Malley. O'Malley. He's the only Mexican I know of with an Irish surname. Sorry, I digress. O'Malley plodded in like a beach walrus and went over to look at Goomba's body.
Jello, Brick.
Yeah.
Hey, this guy's face looked very embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like he just walked in on his grandma in her birthday suit.
Hey, that's my simile.
How did he die, Brick?
Well, I'm not a doctor, O'Malley, but I'd say he had too much lead in his diet.
Oh, see. And looky here. He looks like you got the gun.
That's right. I got the gun.
Would you like to make me a bet, Brick?
Nah, I'll just keep stealing like always.
That is very funny, Brick. Do you know how I feel, Brick?
Well, Jude feels soft and spongy to anybody else. But I suppose you'd feel pretty good to yourself right now. Look, O'Malley, sure, I walked in here with a gun. There was some spelling and math disputes and fight talk, and I ended up killing him. But it's not what it looks like.
Well, it looks to me like I can finally put you in the huska for sure this time, Brick.
Yeah, I'll bet you can, Chief. You can stick me with a bad deal same as usual. But as usual, you'll be dealing from the bottom of the deck.
Oh, worse than that, Brick. It will be all the time. And I want to watch you because I think you will be a big crybaby, just like when I fired you from the department.
Well, I won't cry, but I am going to scream, Chief. I'm going to scream about a gal who sent me in here with an empty gun.
That is a mighty big hole in the guy's belly for an empty gun, Brick.
Yeah, somebody threw me a last-minute curveball somehow. The gun was empty once.
Well, Brick, that's the only way they make a gun. I don't want to arrest you for when they make the gun, Brick. I want to arrest you for the dead guy on the floor now.
All right, look. I told you I didn't come here to kill this guy. I don't even know him, O'Malley. For all I know, he may have been a good guy. A little particular on the spelling and math, maybe, but maybe a good guy overall. I'm sorry he's dead.
Oh, you are sorry, Brick. Well, that's all right. In a few weeks, you will be able to tell him that in person.
O'Malley's carried a grudge against me ever since I borrowed the keys to his beach house that time when I thought he was out of town. Now he had me in a tight spot with no good way to turn. Like being caught between a vampire and your crazy ex-girlfriend. You get your life sucked out either way. When we left there, he was smiling from ear to ear like a circus clown with a bag of whoopee cushions at a convention for librarians. He called the coroner for the body, and when we got downtown, he dropped the gun off with the ballistics and hauled me in for interrogation. Reporters were there, and he gave them the O'Malley version of the story. And of course, I got the starring role. O'Malley was a little short on facts. He has a memory like a steel trap. Information goes in, but can't get out. He booked me on suspicion of murder, and for the next hour and a half he interviewed me under hot lights with a big cop standing by with a rubber hose. At about 11 o'clock, O'Malley brought me into his office. From there on, it happened kind of fast.
I just talked to the DA, Brick. He is going to make things go really fast for you.
Well, how nice of him. But he's going to look kind of bad going to a trial on a guy you can't even identify.
Don't worry, Brick. We will find out all about the dead guy. Sit down, Brick.
Hey, take it easy. O'Malley, you can't find your own house without a telephone book and a city map. If you want to know who he is, talk to the gal who sent me there. Her name is Monica Charday.
We have been through all that, Brick. Now tell me, who is this Tony Goomba?
I honestly don't know, Chief. The girl said his name was Tony Goomba. Why don't you ask her?
Okay, I won't press you. I don't have to, Brick. I have everything I need. I have a telephone tip about the murder. I have Jew. I have the dead guy. And a big father murder gun in your possession.
Okay.
Jello. Jace. This is Chief O'Malley talking. Yes, I know it was a 38 pistol. Well, they're crazy down there in ballistics. I saw him standing over the dead guy. Well, they must have made a mistake, that's all. No. I don't want him in here. I don't want him in here. Hey, Joe, I don't want him in.
O'Malley, you're looking kind of pale. You need to freshen up your makeup. Oh, and throw in a little dab of that Brill cream while you're at it. Remember, a little dab will do you, and the gals will all pursue you. How's that for product placement? Excuse me, Chief. I got some bad news.
Well, keep it to yourself, or you will be taking more bad news home to your wife. I will talk to you later.
Okay. No, talk to him now, O'Malley. See if he's got information on that bullet. It didn't match up, did it, officer? That's right, Chief. It's a 38 bullet, all right, but it don't match up with the gun you brought in.
He's got to match up. I came in and found him standing there with the gun. He's already admitted it.
That's a real neat trick then, Chief, because if he fired the bullet out of that gun, he must have retooled it in midair. Oh, that's a good one. Hey, I pulled some fast ones, O'Malley, but I'm not that fast. Come on. Get out of that chair, why don't you, so you'll have some room to squirm around.
You shut up, Brick.
Excuse me, guys. Can I leave now? I only had those 3 lines. It's okay by me. Great lines.
Get out.
Thanks. Okay, O'Malley. I'm not going to bother you anymore. Thanks for the good time, though.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about?
I'm leaving. You got nothing but a worthless old 38 that don't match up with anything but the closest garbage can. You can't hold me on that.
What are you talking about? I found you over the body. I can hold you on the suspicion of murder.
The suspicion of murder, huh? Well, that might not go over too good with the commissioner in the morning when the newspapers come down for a follow-up, and you'll have to talk to them from way out in left field somewhere.
I will handle them.
O'Malley, you couldn't handle a cardboard box with a forklift. They'll laugh you out of town.
I will have you back in here tomorrow morning holding you on the suspicion of murder.
You couldn't hold ants in a jar of honey, O'Malley. The town ought to thank you, though.
Why?
Because you keep a nice, neat jail, Chief. As long as you're in charge, it won't be all cluttered up with criminals. Oh, and don't forget the Brill cream, Chief.
I'm warning you, Benson. You better get back in here.
A little dab'll do you.
Hey!
When I left O'Malley, he was steaming like a snowman in the sun. But he didn't try to stop me, so I got away from there quicker than a Catholic politician from the confessional. I was kind of surprised that O'Malley let me leave. But he was more confused than a monkey trying to peel a plastic banana. But I was stuck as well. The puzzle just wasn't coming together any better for me. And hour by hour, things made less and less sense. Questions drifted in and out of my mind in a haze, like, why did I let Monica Charday convince me so easily to threaten Tony Goomba? Why did I take that gun from her? I have my own guns, and I've never been afraid of guns like I told her. I'm a certified firearms instructor, and I visit a firing range more frequently than Carter's little liver pills make me visit the men's room. I actually love the sound of gunfire. It bolsters my strong, masterful, mighty, forceful, and robust persona. The whole Goomba confrontation was all out of whack, too. The tattoo of a scar on his head didn't make any sense, even for the denizens of Fort Myers Beach. And Chief O'Malley would have certainly seen that there were either 5 unfired blanks in the gun, or just 1 fired shell, and that's highly unlikely. Forensics could easily tell the difference between a blank shell and one that contained a bullet. Monica didn't have the time to put 5 bullets or blanks in the gun at my apartment. There was even less time for her to put in just 1 blank and assure it was positioned so that it would chamber on the first pull of the trigger. I was sure my gun went off. If it was an actual bullet, then where'd it go? Because it certainly didn't go into Tony Goomba. And where did the bullet that forensics dug out of Tony's body come from? I was beginning to think I'd been drugged or that I'd gone bat crap crazy. So I had a real mess to untangle. It was like trying to sort out the worms from a pot of your dinner spaghetti, and we all know how difficult that is. So I looked up Monica Charday's address, went over to her apartment. She wasn't there, but I found out from a neighbor that Monica worked at a second-rate nightclub called the Cat's Meow on South US 41, on the outskirts of Estero. But I was stuck, and I needed some help putting the pieces together. So I looked up the only honest guy I knew and could trust, Khabib Hadari, a guy who saved my life once. He had just bought a little bar called the Oasis on 41, just a few miles north of Pagefield. So I went there looking for his help. This is Brick Benson. Join me next time for episode 3 of Tony Goomba Get Out of Town. This thrill-packed adventure is called Khabib Hadari to the Rescue. See you then.
The Adventures of Brick Benson Ace Detective is an LCZ, Lou Cubic Zirconia production of the 5-episode series, Tony Goomba Get Out of Town, starring Lou Phillips, and features Casey Phillips as Monica Charday. All characters, other than Monica Charday, are played by Lou Phillips, also known as Lou Cubic Zirconia. Tony Goomba Get Out of Town is a parody, loosely based on Jack Webb and Richard L. Breen's first Pat Novak for Hire radio broadcast, Go Away Dixie Jillian, which first aired on November 24, 1946. Brick Benson's monologues are accompanied by Pedro Esparz's Noir No. 2. Please visit Music by Pedro on YouTube. Additional production music and sound effects are from FESLIYANSTUDIOS.com.